Wes is facing a future in which his ability to even lift a finger will likely be taken away. And it would be so easy under these circumstances for Wes to sit back and to wait for his body to atrophy while he cries, "Woe is me!" Instead, Wes has a different attitude. He recently wrote, "I will live my life one day at a time and with all the gusto possible." That says it all. Wes realizes that today, this is the day for living. Now I wonder, is it necessary to have a terminal disease before you and I are able to carpe diem, seize the day, live in the moment? I certainly hope not. Perhaps on this New Year's Day, you and I can stop. We can stop just for a moment, take a deep breath, and make that all-important resolution to be fully present in each and every moment, in each day of this new year. It sounds easy enough, but you and I know that it is not so simple, because we are people of the 21st century, and part of our 21st century culture is to be plugged in 24/7, 365 days a year. You know, you have seen it just like I have. You're in a restaurant and two people are dining together, supposedly out to enjoy each other's company, but who in actuality have their heads bent down and they are staring at their cell phones, texting with other people. How much sense does that make? Have I done it before? Yes, and that's why I think it's okay for me to say something about it. Does this sort of behavior acknowledge that life is a gift, and that the present moment is significant, and that the person with whom I am sharing this moment is important? No. And you know what it's like to be at a gathering with someone who is talking to you, but while they're talking to you, they're looking over your shoulder, scanning the crowd to see who else they might see who maybe is a little more important than you are. I believe that texting while dining with another person and constantly looking over a companion's head to see who else you can see, these are symptoms of not living life in the present, of not valuing the moment, of not valuing the person with whom you are present. There are all sorts of reasons we don't live more fully in the present. In The Station, Robert Hastings wrote that regret and fear are two thieves who rob us of today. How very, very true. We can drive ourselves batty, absolutely batty, by stewing over regrets from days gone by, and by agonizing over what lies ahead. Or perhaps you might resonate with the words of Richard Rohr, a Dominican priest and founder of the Center for Action and Contemplation in Albuquerque, New Mexico. He writes, "Most of us live in the past, carrying our hurts, guilts, and fears. We have to face the pain we carry, lest we spend the rest of our lives running away from it or letting it run us. But the only place you'll ever meet the real is now, here." Or maybe these words from Father Rohr: "The hardest place for us to live is the present. It's the place where we're most afraid to live because it feels so empty and boring. Now, here, almost always feels like nowhere. And that's precisely where we must go." The challenge, I believe, is to become attentive, to notice who and what is around us, and to be grateful. Sometimes I find that it is as simple as stopping to breathe. Okay, most of us breathe whether we stop to think about it or not. But if I pause for a moment and I notice my breathing, I become more grounded in the present moment. Breathing is underrated, my friends. Pay attention to your breathing, and you may just find yourself in awe of this gift of life. Now, there are plenty of other things that can call us to attentiveness, and you'll think of others besides the ones that I mentioned, but two in particular that call me to attention, and they're sometimes connected, are nature and young children. If you spend time around a child, you will be forced to live in the moment. Walking out to the car to drive somewhere is an exercise in attentiveness. Now, when I am walking out to drive my son to school in the mornings, I am very likely to be focused on the future, watching the clock and trying to figure out if I can beat my 8-minute record to drive him to school without getting a speeding ticket. When suddenly a young voice says, look at that bug. Look at all those legs. And look over there at that flower. I don't think that flower was there last night. And gosh, look at all those squirrels. They're running around up in the trees and they're chasing each other, and I wonder if they ever fall. It can be absolutely maddening for me until I stop and breathe and begin to look at those same things myself. And then I hear those words, "This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it." I began a new practice a month or so ago that has helped me. Each morning after I drop our son off at school and go to the Y, I make the now 10-minute versus 8-minute drive back home to the town where I live. It's a very small town, and I pull into the parking lot beside Baden Lake, which is just down the road from my home. The lake is situated next to a national forest, and it is surrounded by trees. And this fall, those leaves were absolutely stunning as they changed colors. But I have found that whether the sun is shining brightly or whether there is a cloudy mist hanging over the water, the lake is beautiful. And so I sit and I look out over the water and I notice the gentle ripples. And the past couple of weeks, there have been seagulls that have been sitting on the swimming rope, the rope that outlines the swimming area in the lake. And then they take off and they soar through the air, and then they come back down and skid across the water for a landing. And so often as I sit there, I think, what a gift. What a gift. This day, this moment is a moment that the Lord has made, and I will rejoice and be glad in it. You have a wonderful gift, many gifts here in the Grand Rapids area. It's a wonderful place to sit and to soak in the beauty of nature, the gifts of nature. I sat at the East Grand Rapids Library several days this week looking out over Reed's Lake, and even on the rainy days it was gorgeous. If you can get to a window at home, at work, or in the car, you have the opportunity to relish the gifts of nature. In the churches I have served, I often invite people to notice how they experience the presence of God, which in my tradition is a way of experiencing the present. And it has been very interesting, especially given that many of my church members are senior adults. And some of these folks have a difficult time getting around. They have lots of aches and pains, and it would be really easy for them to focus solely on their younger, healthier years. But it is beautiful to hear them share stories of what they notice in the world around them. For the rest of my life, I am sure that when I hear birds singing in the morning, I will think of Martha, a woman in her 80s who always remarked about the birds she encountered as she went out to get the morning paper. These are simple things. It's not rocket science. It doesn't take an advanced college degree, nor does it take gadgets or gizmos. Employ whatever senses you have to see, hear, smell, taste, touch. Pay attention. My college roommate had a postcard on her bunk bed in our dorm room in college, and it had this poem from Ida Scott Taylor. One day at a time, this is enough. Do not look back and grieve over the past, for it is gone. Do not be troubled about the future, for it has not yet come. Live in the present and make it so beautiful that it will be worth remembering. This is the day the Lord has made. Don't wish your life away, as my mother used to tell my sister and me. You and I are not promised tomorrow. So, as we enter into this brand new year, maybe living in the present, being present to each moment and each day is indeed a worthy resolution. Happy New Year, my friends. And now we join together to sing hymn number 144.